Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. So, some of you and some others who watch this may know the story of Sophie Scholl, who was a young 20-something German activist during the Nazi regime in World War II. She was ultimately executed for, of course, treason, but a lot of people don't know the story of what led up to that, and it's starting to make the rounds. So she was apparently 21 when she was executed for distributing anti-Nazi pamphlets on her college campus. And the reason, that was the reason why she was arrested. But it's how she got arrested that makes a difference. So there was a janitor at this university, and he saw that she and some others were handing out pamphlets, and he made a citizen's arrest. Basically, he grabbed them, declared them to be under arrest, got the authorities involved, which was the Gestapo, and then after 4 days of interrogation, they were in front of a Nazi judge for a show trial that some people, including Sophie's parents, weren't allowed in the courtroom for. And they were, of course, found guilty and sentenced to death and beheaded a few hours later. But this janitor, whose name was Jacob Schmid, he got a cash reward and a promotion for turning in Sophie. And I guess, I think was it her brother or her husband Hans? Let's see. She and her brother Hans. So, these poor parents have to lose their kids to a sham show trial, all because this janitor decided to arrest them. But here's the really sinister part. So, the University of Munich, which is where they were handing out these pamphlets, they threw this janitor, Jacob Schmid, a celebration. And hundreds of students attended and cheered for him. He thanked them with the Nazi salute. And after the war, he was arrested and put on a trial of his own, where he said that he only turned the Scholls in because distributing pamphlets was against university policy. According to him, it wasn't because of the content of the pamphlets. So that's terrifying. There is a very, very strong argument for the idea that just because something is legal doesn't make it right, just as something that is illegal doesn't necessarily make it wrong. It was illegal to hide Jews, but it was morally right. Legalism is not a precedent for moralism or righteousness, and it's important that we remember that in these dark days ahead. When we think of fascists, we think of, the Nazis and Hermann Goering and Goebbels and all these other absolute shit stains in their leather hats doing their goose stepping and walking around looking like peak villains, right? But it's important to remember that they were also merely the upper parts of a broad party that had its fingers in every aspect of German society in the 1930s and 40s. It's worth remembering and really keeping to heart that there were everyday people who supported the Nazis and the fascists in Italy and Spain and Bulgaria, etc. They were average people like you and me who found justification to do terrible things. Whether it was a tisk tisk of you're not protesting the right way, or tisk tisk you shouldn't be out after 7 p.m. or sunset or whatever. Tisk tisk they say you shouldn't be harboring or helping these terrible people. There's so much that can be justified under the bounds of legalism, and it is incredibly important to remember that just because something is legal does not make it right. And we think that, if we just see the bad, the worst of the worst, right? Then, oh, well, so long as we keep those people out, things are going to be fine and it'll never happen here and history won't repeat. But while we all don't know someone who would, flip the switch on the proverbial gas chamber, we all know someone like Jacob Schmidt, someone who would use the premise of law and order and legalism to commit unspeakable acts on the grounds that it's a legal thing to do. And the fact that many of us don't recognize this or won't seek to truly challenge this notion and be afraid because breaking the law is seen in the West as a bad thing and a bad crime, even when the laws are unjust, that is what's bothering me today.